الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا ورزقنا برسالة سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين بالقاسم محمد. الله. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام، وبحب الحسن والحسين، وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذرية الحسين عليه السلام، لا سيما على إمام زماننا الحجة القائم المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على وسلم صلوات محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجا. So today we are of course commemorating the death martyrdom anniversary of Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam. So today's topic, I'm going to 8:35 is the talk. 8:35. Inshallah, I'll try to finish by 9:05, something like that. Inshallah, Aziz al-Musta'an. So I have divided today's topic to the work that was done by Imam Hassan Askari. As you know, his imamat was very brief. You mentioned he was named Ibn al-Rada, but he was also called Ibn al-Rada. Many reasons for that. One of the reasons is that they say that Imam Rada was the most salient and long-living Imam, relatively speaking, prior to the 3 Aimma that came after him. The total, in 20s, all of them, 20s, 30s, they were martyred. So they were martyrs in a very young age, 20, 30s, and maybe one of them almost reached 40, something like that. So the total age of all the 3 Imam is no more than 94, 95 years, the totality of it. So these Imams were died young, so they were kind of related to Ibn Rada as one of the reasons for it, But of course, they were Ibn Rada. Obviously, they were from Imam Rada's progeny. So that is obviously the other reason. So that is that. So we're going to talk about something that things that he did. And his doings are important because they are related to us directly. Because he knew, he had understood that that he is the last before the arrival of Imam Sahib al-Zaman. He is the father of Imam Sahib al-Zaman. So our conversation today is, I was asked to deliver a lecture, so I did not, you need to forgive me, I did not prepare for a majlis, I prepared for a lecture. So that is an important distinction I want to make. Inshallah, we will mourn together like we did before, and inshallah after with the Nawha. So our talk is divided into Imam. What is Imam? Because it's important to know Imam. Then we want to know Majlis, what is going on here. Yeah? Then we are going to talk about salient, some tabarruk we will get from talking about, of course, our Imam, beloved Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam. Little bit touching to Imam Mahdi alayhi ta'ala farajahu sharif. And conclude briefly towards the martyrdom of our Imam. So that's the gist of my conversation, inshallah. So Imam, as you know, is in general language leader, the one who is in the front. Many a times people say, oh, Imam is the one, for example, Imam Jama'ah, he leads the prayer, Imam Masjid, the leader of the mosque, right? And so on and so forth. So Imam can be in the generic meanings, but in specific meaning, for Shia, Imam has a, typically speaking, a revered meaning. And when we are especially talking about A'immatul Ma'sumi, we are talking about those 12 entities that we, Athna Shia, call A'immatul Ma'sumi, A'immatul Tahiri, and Imam Hassan Askari is the 11th among them. So then what is an Imam? Who is an Imam? Is Imam something which is based on history only, meaning we were told historically that one day Prophet went and he did something, and had he not done it, there would be no Imam, for example. Of course, he did something very important. Or it was not really a mandatory thing like many people claim that, he said he's your friend, nothing more than that. Or do we actually need Imam? Are we in need of Imam? Why should there be an Imam? Is it something cultural? Is it something historical? Or is it something that is actually a necessity? So we have discussed, inshallah, as some of us who have been with us in the Aqaid class, that we are a religion of reason. Shia is a religion of reason. We do not believe in i'tiqad that is unreasonable. There is no such thing in Shia. Okay, so we have discussed. So unreasonable things, our Imam also said, take it in your hand, throw it on the wall. It is not from us. So that is important for us to understand. So we take reason a step forward and we talk about Tawheed. And I'm not going to talk about Tawheed here, just touching here. And Tawheed for us is a provable entity, right? We don't believe in Allah because somebody's told us that there is Allah. We believe in Allah because Allah is a fact. It's not a speculation. It's a fact. So we believe in facts, right? So that's number one. Like if this Quran says, "Qul hatu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin," if you bring forth your burhan, if you are truthful. So we bring burhan, right? Irrefutable evidence to bring proofs of Allah, right? The same thing that proves Allah proves adala. The same thing that proves adala, justice, proves the imamah, right? So imamat for us is not a historical event, even though it happened in history. Of course, they are not separate from each other. But it is also not a hearsay, like, okay, somebody said, of course, somebody extremely important said, and that is extremely important, and we don't belittle it. But my point is, regardless, the same dalil that exists for the presence of a prophet, like we know that there has to be a prophet, we also know that there has to be an imam, right? And we are unique in that area, that we not only define imam, but we also define what is an imam. What are the criteria of imam, right? It is not only from a progeny standpoint. So, for example, one can say, well, after Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, the whole imamat or nabuwa is in one family, either Ibrahim from the Ishaq or from Ismail. So this is like a king, one after the other. Why is it not a king? I mean, what is a dynasty? A dynasty is where people from the father to the son to the father, or to their son, and to their son, and to their son. So this is like a dynasty, right? So of course, we don't believe in dynasties, right? There is no such thing as dynasty. Actually, anything that is called dynasty or king, that Shia is against it. Yeah, we don't believe in that. Okay. So this is extremely important for us to understand. So we define, so our allegiance to the institution of imamat is because of the attributes of imamat. It's about its association with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's about its association with the chain that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has certified. If Allah would not certify it, we would not agree with it. We would not believe in it. We will accept whatever Allah will decide, will define. Okay. However, Allah has defined it this way. Okay. So we believe in the Imam. We don't believe in the king. We believe in the progeny, Al Muhammad, Al Ibrahim. We don't believe in the dynasty of Ibrahim, right? Not anyone from the Al of Ibrahim can stand up and say, oh, I am going to be the, no, the one with proper attributes, the one with proper qualities, the one who would be qualified, right? That person will be the one who will have the mantle of Imam. Nobody else. Nobody else, right? This is important for us to understand. So we do not believe in kings, and we do not call our Imams kings for a particular reason, because kings, they have, in general, kings have their own writ, their own legislative authority. They do not derive the legislative authority from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. An Imam or a Nabi, even if he is in the kingship state or leadership state, he still remains the same. And he derives his authority from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is a clear difference between the two. We believe in anyone which Allah has given the authority, and we call them Imams in our time. Before Imams were present, we call them Anbiya and Awliya, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. So this is an important distinction we need to understand, inshallah al-Aziz. Right? Before we talk about Imam Hassan Askari, because we first need to know what is Imam, then we talk about Imam Hassan Askari, right? So that is important. Let's say a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajah. So inshallah, we are all clear about this, that what is the difference between dynasty and the progeny. And these are different words, they have different implications, and they have different meanings. And they have different, as I said to you, qualities and attributes associated with them, right? So this is important. Whole Imam Hussein, he was fighting against the institution of kingship with Muawiyah la'natullah alayhi, he instituted, you know. So this is important for us to understand. Okay. So now that we know this, we need to also understand that who is Imam then? Imam is the most knowledgeable, most pious, the bravest, the most honest person that can ever exist. There's no one better than him. He is the purest form of human existence. There is no better human being existing on this earth except the Imam. He is the purest of the pure, by choice, not by compulsion. I'm achieved this status by choice, because if Allah created them without giving them the choice, then they can never be a role model for us. We can easily say, well, you gave them no choice, you just created them like this. So what's the big deal if they are like this? No problem. No. They are judged also at a very high level. This is one of the reasons when you see our Imams, they are weeping and they are seeking forgiveness from Allah, because they know that their position, what they are expected to do, and they are still striving for that, and yet because Allah is so magnificent, they are unable to achieve that place which they would like to achieve. So this is extremely important, and of course this is a lot of us is teaching for us as well. Having said that, this is important. So he's the purest form of existence by choice. And he's the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his final authority over mankind. And he is the direct link to Allah for the existence in this world. He connects us to Allah directly. He is the link. From Imam Ali, who is the Hujjatullah al-Awwal and Hujjatullah al-Azam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa to Imam Sahib al-Zaman Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, they are all the purest and the purest entity. That's why what do we say? Waluna Muhammad, wa awsatuna Muhammad, wa akhiruna Muhammad, kulluna Muhammad. All of us are Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. These Imams are sent to us so that to ensure for us that they will lead us to salvation, and we achieve, and by giving us knowledge, and they will become the role model for us. They will train us and teach us how to. So knowledge is what they bring forward for us, so that the purpose of the knowledge, and they show what is the purpose of knowledge. The purpose of knowledge is purification. Purification, right? Purification. They give you knowledge so that we can purify, we can clean ourselves. This is extremely important. So what do? They take away the jihala from us. What do we say in Ziyara Arbainiya? What do we say? What? That Imam, we do salam to them. What? Because they took us away, they took the humanity away from what? From the confusion of jihala, ignorance. They brought them, right? When you hear of the dalala, and here and there, confusion, they took them out of us. Karbala, one of the things about Karbala is this. So Imam Ali says what? Mawla Muttaqiyan, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam says, the biggest ignorance is that a person is ignorant of his own state of being. That is number one. Then he says, most certainly a person, this is in Ghurarul Hakam wa Durarul Kalim, Babul Jahl. This is from that book. It's an old book, and it is a book which is a compilation of Imam Ali sayings. So it says, most certainly a person without knowledge, his speech spreads disease and chaos, and his actions are obnoxious. And then he says, most detested creation in front of Allah is the ignorant ones. So this is extremely important for us to understand that our Aimma, who is our Imam? Our Imam, most knowledgeable, most pure. What is his job? To give us guidance. What kind of guidance? To connect us to Allah. What connect us to Allah? So that we achieve salvation on the day of judgment. Simple things, not really complicated, However, obviously, it is easier said than done. Easier said than done. Why? Because there are issues, and then there are issues, and then again there are more and more issues. So let's say a salawat before we move forward. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. So then the question comes, we are today in a time, clearly, we don't have our Imam present. Clearly, we don't have our Imam present. So that's not a speculation, that's just a fact. So if our Imam is not present, then are we without a guide? Because if we are without a guide, then we are like Sunni. We cannot be called, because what is Shia? Shia is always connected to Hujjatullah, and always connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Hujjatullah. Always. There is not one micro or nanosecond, and if there is a smaller denomination of second, even that one. When a Shia is disconnected from the Hidayah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no doubt about that. Okay. All right. That's our belief. Okay. So in the absence of Imam, then we have belief. No one can claim that Imam came to them, right? Because I cannot say Imam came to me, told me this to talk about these things. We did not. Okay. So then, did Imam leave us mutahayyir? He did not leave us. If we say that Imam left us mutahayyir, right? He did not leave us any guidance. Then effectively is the same argument that Sunni gives for after Prophet Muhammad. What do they say? Well, he never said anything. So it's okay to have, the Khulafa. What's the problem? Right? So it is therefore impossible. If that is the case, that person cannot be Imam. Like Allah said, what? If you did not deliver the message, it is like you did nothing. All of your Risala is gone. Nothing, everything is. When on Yawm al-Ghadir, this is very famous. Every Shia knows this ayah. So you think that Imam Sahibul Zaman and Imam Hassan Askari, they left, and they left us like hanging, nothing? So then what's the difference between, if they want to do it here, they could have done it 1400, 1200 years ago. Why create Karbala and all that to come to Imam Sahib al-Zaman? Right? So obviously that is illogical and that is not possible. Okay, we are nahnu abna'u dalil. We are people of reason. Okay, so that's not possible. It is belittling Imam Sahib al-Zaman and our Aimma to say that they left us alone with Ahiyya. So inshallah we all understand that that can never be the case. So I will take, I just want to make a couple of points during my speech because, khairul kalam ma qalla wa dalla. The best of the kalam is which is short, and I just makes a point and then that's it. The point has been made. Let's say a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraja. So there is this one ayat of Quran, actually a couple of ayat of Quran, that Surah Baqarah, ayat number 78 and ayat number 79. Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam, he himself explained these ayat. And then after explaining these ayat, he further talked about what is going to happen after this, what kind of institutions are going to be established for the tashayyu to follow. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So the ayah first. وَمِنْهُمْ أُمِّيُّونَ يَعْلَمُونَ الْكِتَابَ الْأَمَانِيَّ وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَظُنُّونَ وَوَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ هَذَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ لِيَشْتَرُوا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا فَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ ما كتبت أيديهم وويل لهم ما يكسبون. صدق الله العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد محمد وعجل. This verse is extremely important. Why? We'll follow this. So it says وَمِنْهُمْ أُمِّيُّونَ. This ummi is separate from the other ummi. The ummi which is for Rasul. This is not that ummi. This ummi is from the which is mother, and the hala of the person when he comes out from the womb of the mother. He doesn't know anything and he has no knowledge of things. So he's basically not knowledgeable at that time. They don't, they know nothing except what they wish for the book to be. And whatever they think the book has said, they think that is what the book means. They just think that is whatever we are thinking, whatever we believe, that is what it is. There nothing more, nothing other than that. And so woe be to them, curse be upon them, what? Those who wrote the book with their hands and then said whatever they wanted to think, they attributed to Allah and then said, this is from Allah. Okay, this is from Allah. No, they bought something very little. They got something very little for something very, giving up something very big. Okay, and so Allah did curse to them, right? That's the gist of the conversation here. So Imam Hassan Askari was asked about this ayah. So he said that, this is what happened to the Bani Israel was that they used to follow. They used to do وَهُمْ يُقَلِّدُونَ مَعَ أَنَّهُ مُحَرَّمٌ عَلَيْهِمْ تَقْلِيدُهُم. What was happening that there were ulama in Bani Israel, they were making translations and they were saying things that were not what the actual meaning of the book was. And they got corrupted. And so Bani Israel was not paying attention, and they were following such ulama and they were following such people. So Allah cursed those followers and Allah cursed the ulama. So it's interesting, Imam was asked, he said, well, if the people were supposed to follow the ulama, So if they were, misguided, and they gave the misguided information, what is the fault of the people? Why are they condemned? So Imam said, no, there is a reason behind it. The reason is because these people, have you ever seen a person who, whenever you go, I have met a lot of this, not here, alhamdulillah, not here, in other places. You go somewhere to some majlis and some talk, and they say, Ajan, McDonald's halal has? Hey, Mama, McDonald's halal least, the burger of, the beef burger and all that. Halal least. Okay, no problem. 2 weeks later, another person comes. They ask the same question. Ayan, McDonald's halal is? Oh, Baba, McDonald's halal least. It is not halal. They keep asking the same question. They are not really asking a question. They just want to find someone who can say it is halal. So then they can put the blame on him and say, oh, look, this person said it is halal. Okay, now I'm going to do this. I got myself an excuse. Right? So this was this kind of people and this kind of ulama. These people were looking for those kind of ulama. Those kind of ulama, they would make changes to the book or in their meaning in a way that they would give people what they want. So that is the problem that people had. Okay. So this conversation is long, and I'm just cutting it shorter to just to make it a point. So Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam said that our people and the ulama, they are alike one way and they are different in another way. Okay. So it says between the awam, the people, and ulama of the clerics, there's one difference. What is that? That they were looking for those kind of ulama. But our people, inshallah, those are true Shia, they don't look for those kind of ulama. They look for the Salih ulama. And then Imam changed his conversation and then said, I am now narrating the conversation or the hadith from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ajil faraj. Right? And he says what? So he says, somebody came and asked Imam Sadiq, what did he say? فَمَنْ قَلَّدَ مِنْ عَوَامِنَا مِثْلَ هَؤُلَاءِ الْفُقَهَاءِ. He, about this ayat and about this conversation, Imam Sadiq says that whoever followed this from our people, this kind of ulama, then what? Then he is just like those Jews who were following that kind of ulama. Okay. However, فَأَمَّا مَنْ كَانَ مِنَ الْفُقَهَاءِ سَائِنًا لِنَفْسِهِ حَافِظًا لِدِينِهِ مُخَالِفًا عَلَى هَوَاهُ مُطِيعًا لِأَمْرِ مَوْلَاهِ فَلِلْعَوَامِ أَنْ يُقَلِّدُوهُ وَذَلِكَ لَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا بَعْضَ فُقَهَاءِ الشِّيعَةِ لَا جَمِيعَهُمْ. This is what is the narration from our Imam. Okay, it says that whoever is brave and whoever has self-control away from sin and obedient to our Mawla, and then in other ahadith it came that those who are the knowledgeable about the ahadith of our Aimma and Anbiya and so on, and they have that ulum, we are supposed to do taqleed from them. Okay, we have to do taqleed for them, and that is important for us so that we are not mutahayyir. And it says that there are some who are like that, not all of them. So we are, and we call them, today we call them what? We call them marja. The term for the marja means what? Simple. It's an Arabic word. It means what? For whom you do ruju. Right? If you want to ask some question, you ask the most knowledgeable. Who is the deputy of the Imam? Who is the marja? Who has this kind of attributes? These kind of things. This is the gist of it. So we are not mutahayyir, and this is important for us to understand. So we cannot take knowledge just from anyone. that is not allowed to us. So we have to then therefore decide as people, are we followers of our Imam or are we followers of ourselves? Are we going to listen to people who are the bearer of knowledge? Or are we going to listen to people who are just, there to talk? And they really don't have any knowledge and they are not qualified. Qualification is important. And this is actually important thing to understand. So I'm going to just say one line before I go to Imam Hassan Askari and then conclude this speech. There are two terms, Zakir and Alim. They are different terms. Zakir does not mean Alim. Alim does not mean Zakir. They are two different terms. All of our Aimma used Zakirin to come on the mimbar and recite the Karbala and other, poetry. However, Zakir's role is to recite either the history of Karbala or to do tawsif, to do hamd, to do amplify, magnify, glorify Rasul or Aimma, or to condemn their enemies. That's the role of Zakir. Zakir not even one time was given a role by any Imam to come sit on the mimbar and teach religion. This is haram, this is halal. You can do this and you cannot do this. Right? You can do majlis this way and not on Zoom. Yani ajeeb hai. This is really interesting. Yani we on one hand believe that our Aimma and our Bibi and all of us, they are the Malik of the Kaunain, of the whole universe. And they cannot, wherever we are sitting for the azah for them, that's Farsh azah. So they can come on this Farsh azah, but they cannot go to other Farsh azah. Like why? Who said that? Yani they are limited. They cannot go. So what kind of a marifat is that? Yani you are saying that our Imam, if you were on Zoom, cannot go to the Farsh azah at your home. But it can only come if they are your studying. Yani it's illogical. It's completely ajeeb hai. You cannot understand this. So, don't let us not do these kind of things and bring people into our gatherings who don't know what they're talking about. And let us pay attention to get ilm from ulama who know what they are talking about. Okay, this is inshallah. Let's do a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahu. Inshallah, al-Aziz al-Musta'an. The idea is that one of the role of the ulama that Allah will ask all of the ulama is whether they spoke the right thing at the right time or they did not. If they did not, they will be asked why. Like I told you the hadith. Anybody who does that, they will answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Hazrat Fatima Zahra and our Aimma are going to come and say to us, you were there, you did not speak. Why? So it is important for us to speak. So it is extremely more. So let us now talk a little bit about 2 minutes, 3 minutes about our Imam. This was from our Imam. I did not tell you anything from my own pocket. Whatever I recited to you is from the books and from the hadith of Imam. And nothing more, nothing less. Let us now visit our beloved Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam. As you know, he was born on 10th Rabiul Akhir and on 232 Hijri, which was the 8th of or 8th of Rabiul Akhir. There is a little bit of dispute whether it was 8th or it was 10th. His father is, of course, Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, and his mother is Susan. Her name is Susan or Sulail. There are a few other names mentioned. And some of the things, this is to know, everybody knows during his time, there was this rainmaker that came, right? That brought, there was this whole, famine and dry spell going on in the region. And then this guy comes, right? and his name was Jasaliq. So this Jasaliq comes and he takes this hand, or raises his hand, like a very well-dressed Christian, Christian cleric and so on. He comes in and then he raises the hand and brings the rain. After the fact that 3 days of Muslim prayers did not bring the rain. So he then contended at that time that, look, your prayer did not work, mine did. Right? And this happened not one time, but repeatedly. So much so that people started questioning Islam, and they were going towards, getting towards Christianity. So this Khalifa, La'natullah alayh, goes and says to Imam Hassan Askari that your grandfather's religion is in danger. You come and you save him. He was in jail, so he brings him out of the jail. And then he says, go, and so on and so forth. Imam goes, and I think all of us know what happened at that time. Imam says, bring him. So there are two narrations to this. I am reciting one of them. I don't dispute the other. I don't know which one is accurate. But there is one in which the Imam confronted him during the ongoing drought. And there is the other narration which says that the drought was relieved, but people were moving towards Christianity. So Imam went and said, no, bring him to a desert. And this is the one that I have read. So bring him to the desert. They come to the desert, and Imam says, now ask for the rain. He asks for the rain. The cloud comes. Imam sends somebody and says, take what is in his hand. They take away a black colored bone material, brings to the Imam. Imam keeps it in the properly folded cloth. And then he says, now pray. And he prays, and the cloud that came, they actually disappeared. They went away. Okay. And then Imam did these salah of rain, then dua for the rain, and the rain comes. And then Imam describes that this was the bone of a Nabi, and so on and so forth. So Imam, this is one of his, one of his attributes and one of his deeds. Second thing which about Imam is that Sufi. People know about Abu Ishaq al-Kandi, the one who was writing the book against Quran, and he was writing the book. So I'm sure everybody knows this thing that he meets his student, and he teaches his student certain things. The student goes to Abu Ishaq al-Kandi, and then Abu Ishaq al-Kandi then goes and the student critiques him. He says, you couldn't have critiqued. Who is the one who critiqued? And he says, is it not possible that what you are thinking is to be the meaning of Quran, this book, is not the true meaning, not the real meaning, but it is something different. He thinks about it. He says, you are right, that is possible. He then says, you couldn't have done that. He goes to Imam. Apparently, he becomes his student, and he's one of the known students of the Imam afterwards. Actually, I like him also because he's into astronomy. He has done a lot of astronomical work as well. So, but that is not the topic here. So moving on. So this is one of the things that Imam did to protect Islam, and this. So it is therefore what important that we don't do, tafsir of the Quran. Inshallah, those brothers who are doing it, I know a few, they are doing an excellent job, including Brother Subhani, be Mustafi's machine. That's a different issue. But, people who are not aware of the things, they should not delve into the things without having a proper understanding of how things are done. This is important. Okay, we should not implement our thoughts and our things into Quran. This is the message of Imam Rida. Sufi is the last thing I want to say, because this is again from not Imam Rida, Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam. So Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam says that whoever goes the path of the Sufi, right, the Sufi will destroy you, will destroy the faith of the Muslimin and Mu'mineen. Okay, it's a long conversation. It happened after one of the Sufi, when he saw Imam wearing a decent cloth, okay, he ridiculed him. He said, wow, you, right, Yabna Rasulullah, you with this kind of cloth? Wow, mashallah. Then it is out of stehza, out of, ridicule. So Imam was wearing the white dress. He turns the white dress and shows him the black dress, which was a bit rough under him that he was wearing. And he said, this is for people like you, and this is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for my nafs. Okay. So he then kept quiet, and he then got what he deserved. So it is important for us to understand, therefore, the place and the stature of our Imam. He is the one who has given us all of the ashab and all of the people that were in the time of Imam Hassan Askari. They one way or another established communication paths. The communication between mu'mineen. The first naib of Imam Sahib al-Zaman is what? Is the companion of Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam. So it is important for us to understand, which was what? Abu Amr Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri. He is the first naib of Imam Sahib al-Zaman, and he is one of the students and the ashab of Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam. Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam had 6 years only in his Imam, total 6 years. He was a magnificent personality. And imagine how efficient he was, that in the age of 29, he passed away, some 28 or 29, no more than 29, he passed away. And he established an entire network and established an entire system for the arrival and for the promotion of the message of Islam, and so a system so that our Imam Sahib al-Zaman can build on it. Because as you know, Imam Sahib al-Zaman, they were looking for him. Question. At the time of the death of Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam, they came to look for Imam Sahib al-Zaman, right? The Banu Abbas, they were a mighty power at that time, right? This everybody knows, right? They came to look for the 5-year-old boy. Where is he? They could not find him. Question. If they found him, could we protect him? No. That's the short answer. No. Okay. So we say what? Ajjal faraja. Right? This is what we, Ajjal faraja. Right? Hasten the Zahur of Imam. Let him come quick. You think we can protect him? Honestly, if American FBI goes after him, or if anybody else goes after him, or anybody goes after him, doesn't matter if American, doesn't have to be. Saudi's intelligence goes after him, or anybody goes after him. You think we can protect him? Probably not. Probably not. So it is important for us then to ask why. Why? It is a simple reason. We are weak. Why we are weak? One reason. Why we have always been weak? Because we are divided. In the presence of Imam, we never came together for that one Imam. Right? We started from Imam Ali, did tafriqa, until, Imam Hussein, mashakil, mushkil, difficulties, and till we come division after division after division. Right? Now Imam Sahib al-Zaman is there. The only way to reach Imam Sahib al-Zaman we know is marja. There is no other way. Okay? Yet we are still divided. We choose to divide ourselves based on marja as opposed to unite ourselves. This is a big problem. And I am only saying this because as long as it does not go away from our hearts, we will always be saying Ajjal faraja without the faraj. So if we are sincere in the faraj, we have to change ourselves. And we have to start thinking how we are going to come together so that our Imam, when he calls us, we are one. We are not 200 different directions. Right? Inshallah, Allah is something to think about, inshallah. May Allah allow us to be among the followers of our Imam. May Allah allow us to be among the people who Allah has blessed with the rizq of, inshallah, rizq of taqwa, rizq of karama, rizq of shahama, yani honor, dignity. This is what we need. Okay? And inshallah, Aziz wa Musta'an, may Allah allow us to be among the companions and aids of our marja, so that we can become companions and aids of our Imam in a way that is knowledgeable and in a way which cleans us and purifies us. Inshallah, so that Allah allow us. Inshallah, wa akhir da'wana, and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.